This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Hey man, I woke up to some ridiculous slander today about Amari Cooper on the timeline. Now, I usually don't talk about when I see an individual bad take out there unless I think that this take is so bad that it can be used as an example to make sure that you as a Browns fan can stay away from engaging with nonsense such as this. And that's one of the things that I like to do on here. You know, let's find ways to avoid misinformation when all possible, or find ways to identify misinformation, or just, to know BS when you see some BS. And I saw some BS today on Pro Football Network. Now, they're ranking all of the wide receivers in the NFL, right? They're ranking all 32 top wide receivers or whatever it is that Dakota Randall saw himself doing today. And look, I know it's April. The draft's like too far away to do a lot of hardcore draft stuff, but it's also just a tough time to make stuff for fans and audiences interested in the NFL. I get it. Look at me. I get it. But come on, dog. What are we doing here? Like, we got to work. I'll get to why I'm so flustered in a minute here. So this is from Pro Football Network, an entire organization that I believe has editors and everything. So, they seem to be a legitimate organization. And they're ranking the wide receivers, and it goes as I state. Justin Jefferson is his number one. You got Tyreek Hill. You get CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase. This don't seem that weird at all, right? Like, everything's about on board. A.J. Brown is number 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay. Brandon Ayuk. I don't see anything crazy here. Stephon Diggs, number 9. Deebo Samuels, number 10. Puka Nacua, number 11. Keenan Allen. Okay. Oh, DJ Moore at 15. Okay, cool. You got Tay Smith there, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, where's Amari Cooper, right? Because Amari Cooper's not top 10. We all know that Amari Cooper's not a top 10 wide receiver, but he's definitely within that 15 to 20 range. And right now I'm seeing, Nico Collins ahead of him, which I think is a little wild. DK Metcalf is there. Cooper Kupp. Okay, I get that. T. Higgins ahead. Calvin Ridley. We got Calvin Ridley ahead of Amari Cooper. Tank Dell ahead of Amari Cooper. And then Chris Olave. And then at 27, he has Amari Cooper written down here. Now, my issue isn't that you ranked Amari Cooper number 27. While I do think that is a very low ranking for Amari Cooper, if you have a good enough argument, I can live with it, right? I'm not somebody who thinks just because a player's on the team that I like, they got to be top 5 and everything, right? Like, I understand you might not be a fan of Amari Cooper. I love to hear how you would explain why you don't like Amari Cooper. Well, here's the explanation, and this is what pisses me off. All right, so Amari Cooper at 27. Amari Cooper is a tough player to evaluate. He's definitely overrated, and most of the NFL's top corners aren't scared of him, but the numbers are the numbers. Cooper has posted at least 1,000 yards in 5 of the last 6 seasons, including the last 2 for the Cleveland Browns. There's some quit in him. But also, we're talking about a receiver who racked up 265 yards in week 15 with Joe Flacco at quarterback, such as Amari Cooper's experience. Now, I don't know much about the man who wrote this article, but your work is something that people can criticize and make other inferences on. And if this work is a sample of what this man has done before, I would have to categorize him as incredibly lazy. The reason I would categorize him as incredibly lazy, because this write-up on Amari Cooper is just incredibly lazy. It is devoid of any effort and work. It is bullshit. The reason it's bullshit isn't because I disagree with it. The reason it's bullshit is the lack of any backing up any of the negative things that he said about Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's a tough player to evaluate. He's definitely overrated. Okay, if you're going to make the claim that Amari Cooper is overrated, please provide some context into why you think that he's overrated. Is it his yards per reception? Is it his yards after catch? What is it about his game that you find to be overrated? Is it somewhere about how he's getting his production? Do you think he's getting most of his production in the back half of blowout games? Like, what about Amari Cooper is overrated? Again, if you're going to make the claim, back it up. If I say Amari Cooper is underrated, I point to his production versus perception, and I use your article as an example. But if you're going to say he's overrated, why? Why is he overrated? This is the first thing I learned when I sat in telecommunications, sports broadcast 101 about how to formulate an opinion, right? This is basic stuff here that I'm asking. This is something that any college freshman can do. And I assume that this gentleman is a professional, given that he's writing on ProFootballNetwork.com, and that seems to be some type of reputable source. I mean, that reputable website, you would expect that there'd be something like that. You would also expect that there would be an editor, somebody who reads this article and goes, hey, you can't write that. You got to add more. If you want to put Amari Cooper at 27, it's fine. But you can't just write, he's definitely overrated and not say anything to back it up. Amongst other things, he says, and most of the NFL's top corners aren't scared of him. Well, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm sorry to drop an F-bomb on the main channel, but what does that mean? Most of the corners aren't scared. How do you know that? Did you survey all 32 corners in the NFL, or did you survey 12 corners in the NFL and ask them who scares them the most? Is there a source that you can come on that? Or are you just saying, well, the corners aren't scared of him, right? You're saying he's overrated, and to back that up, you came here with the general statement that corners aren't afraid of him. Well, where does that come from? How do you know that corners aren't afraid of him? I'm not saying that corners are, because I have no evidence that corners feel any type of way about Amari Cooper. But I'm also not going to say the others thing, because that would be silly. All I know about Amari Cooper is that he's respected amongst his peers as being one of the best route runners, if not the best route runner in the NFL. And if somebody was respected amongst their peers enough to be called one of the best route runners in the NFL, I would assume that's somebody that DBs had a healthy level of respect for. But no. Who wrote this article? Who wrote this garbage? I'm going to put it out on mainstream. Dakota Randall. Dakota Randall says that all these corners aren't afraid of Amari Cooper, so I guess it's happening because Dakota Randall knows what's up, right? He has to know what's up. I've never heard of him before this article, but he knows what's up. This guy knows what's up, man. He knows the real deal. All right, let's continue. Let's continue on the other issues that I have with this little blurb in this article. And if this blurb is a reflection on the work in this article, then I have to imagine that the rest of the article isn't any better. But again, you get judged by the work that you put out. This is part of the work that he put out here. All right, Cooper, he then goes on to explain why Cooper's not overrated, because he says Cooper has posted at least 1,000 yards in 5 of the last 6 seasons, including 2 for the Cleveland Browns. There's some quit in him. What does that mean? You said there's some quit in him. Now, this is something that I can easily argue against, because there's evidence of there not being, quote unquote, quit. Are you saying Amari Cooper is a quitter? Are you saying that Amari Cooper is somebody who's not willing to play through injury? And if that's your take, are you stupid? Have you not paid attention to anything that Amari Cooper has done his entire career? The entire rap on Amari Cooper has been, he's somebody who's going to get injured, but he will play through it. That was the rap when I talked to Vach Lombardi, who covers the Dallas Cowboys, about Amari Cooper when the Browns traded for him. And the Browns have had Amari Cooper on their team, and Amari Cooper has played through at least 3 injuries since joining the Cleveland Browns. He played through an ankle injury. He played through a core muscle injury that he needed surgery for later in the year. What do you mean he has quit in him? See, this is the garbage that I hate in sports talk, where people just say whatever. and don't back it up. And the reason this makes me mad isn't because I like Amari Cooper and I don't like that he doesn't like Amari Cooper. We can have different opinions on this. I have people who have different opinions than me when it comes to football on this channel, and we have these discussions all the time. All the time. It bugs me because when you cover the game like this, it tells me you don't respect it. You don't respect the work that Amari Cooper puts in. You don't respect the work that people who cover the league in the right way put in. You don't respect it. You disrespect it. Because when you say a player like Amari Cooper, who's played through multiple injuries, has some quit in him, when you say one of the best route runners in football doesn't scare any DBs simply to back up a bullshit take on a bullshit article, you're showing me how little respect you have for this game. This game has given me everything. Okay. So I get a little passionate about that. And when I see people who have takes that aren't just wrong, but wrong in a way that is disrespectful to football, it pisses me off, right? If you think that Tank Dell is a better wide receiver than Amari Cooper, cool. But the people I know that have that opinion that I respect can argue that opinion with me with actual things that relate to football. They're not going to rely on statements and platitudes and bullshit. They're going to try to make an actual football argument for why Tank Dell is better than Amari Cooper. I have no issue with anybody taking that stance. But when you tell me Amari Cooper is ranked 27th and all you can muster together in your little article is he's overrated because corners aren't scared of him and he has quit in him, when none of that is substantiated, is just disgusting. And honestly, it makes me think less of the entire organization itself, because how does that get to post? Like, does Pro Football Network not have editors? Because if this is just one part of this article, I promise you there's like 14 million contradictions in this thing. I promise you it gets worse if you read it, because this right here tells me everything I need to know about who wrote this is that they don't respect the game enough to know what they're talking about. But they want to have authority over what they're talking about. It's gross. It pisses me off. And Amari Cooper is getting too much disrespect these days. So that's why I felt like I needed to make this video, because takes like this, I mean, they really get me upset, because it's not just a difference of opinion that makes me mad. It's how you get there. You know, I'm really about showing your work, right? You can say anything you want about any player in the league, but if you show me your work and it makes sense, okay, I'll live with your take. But when you show me your work and it looks like garbage, whether you agree with me or not, that's something I'm going to call out. And this went across my face, and I just want to let everybody know this is what garbage looks like. That's what garbage looks like. So y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.